What's up, guys? And another week has gone by, and that means that we're 1 week closer to the Heroes of the Storm beta. Welcome to episode 2 of the Storming the Nexus podcast. I'm Jeremy Queck, aka Squishei, and this week we learned some more information about Heroes of the Storm from the closed press interview, which includes a first look into the business model, Dustin Browder pretty much confirms a map editor, and a more in-depth look into the talent system. But first, I'm joined by two individuals. The first person joining us again from last week, Mr. Mike from Staten Island, waving his hands and sucking on a cough drop.
Yum.
And the second, Eric from Magical Christmas Land. He likes long walks on the beach and loves the song The Fox, and has also been playing League of Legends for a long time, so he's definitely not new to the MOBA genre.
How's it going?
Not bad. So, can you sing The Fox for us right now?
I will never sing that song. It's a horrible song.
Alright, so let's get right into it. So during the press interview, Dustin Browder gave us a slight look into the business model for heroes. He said that there will probably be a free hero rotation that cycles after a set period of time. Now, this sounds a lot like the League of Legends business model, and this has upset a lot of players. What's the issue here?
I don't know why it would upset a lot of players. I like the league model. I mean, you got a free rotation to try out stuff, and then you buy stuff with experience points you earn as you play the game, or real money. But I mean, go on.
I think the reason why they're getting so upset is because the way the game is going to be played, it's supposed to be like a more fast-paced game. They want to get right in and get all their champions, and this is actually going to gate it, so you have to actually play a lot more. Whereas in something like Hearthstone, where you could get the cards a lot faster, I feel, than most other online card games and stuff like that. You can... I hate you. You can, Now you maybe lost my train of thought. Derp.
What happened? I didn't do anything.
So, whereas Hearthstone, you can get your champion decks really fast, so you can get all 10 of them, or 9 of them, all 9. This, you have to do a lot of playing and all that. Like, I've been playing League of Legends for 3.5 years, essentially, like, very soon after it came out of beta, and I still, like, have, like, what I was telling earlier, 14 champions left to unlock. And it takes forever. So, unless I want to spend real money to actually purchase and get these models or these champions or heroes or whatever you want to call them, it's going to take a long time unless they do it really in a way where you can actually unlock them a lot faster instead of like the 6,300 IP like League of Legends does.
Right. And I think that's a lot of people's issue. We also have Dota that released, and they have a different model. Basically, all heroes are available upon release, and you buy cosmetic stuff, skins, hats, stuff like that instead. A lot of people are going for that. Do you think that will be better for this game or worse?
After hearing Aythir's argument there, the league model never bothered me because he needs 14 champions left to buy. I counted I need 63 actually, because I bought one before we started this. But it never really bothered me. I play my set little group of champions and I'm happy. But I could see the Dota model being better because here is everything. So if you need to play a role or a champion, you can play it, but you're not going to have all the fancy skins or I would say maybe you're not going to have access to all the talents, but that would be a little bit,
Yeah.
some champions there. I don't know. From a business standpoint, there's probably more money to be made with the league model.
Right,
Tempting
definitely.
you to buy champions, but more, you're going to have more it's going to be just nicer if you have the Dota model because, hey, here's everything, have fun.
Right. I mean, as long as League has 6,300 IP champions, and you get IP just from playing games, how many games do you have to play to get 6,300 IP? It's a lot. It's probably close to around the 50, 60 games mark,
Yeah,
excluding Win of the Day.
Just Win of the Days. Yeah.
Right. It's a lot. So, go
They
ahead.
could do the Heroes of New Earth style. I think the way they did it, I bought the game right before it went into this, like the new system, I guess, where it was like free to play. But if you bought it, you were able to get the champion ahead of time, and if you didn't have the pre-purchased version of the copy and you just were playing the free-to-play, you'd end up having to like do the same thing that League of Legends does, where you have to get the IP and then you get your champion in that way.
Okay. So, So, as you queue up with more friends, they also detailed this system. You will get more currency for games, which may lead to more parties queuing up to get more IP, to get more champions, or heroes, if this is the way it's going on. Do you see this as an issue? Maybe? No?
The silence.
No comments, huh?
Nah, okay.
I was responding to chat. Someone said, Laranzod said it could be worse. They could do the Mech Warrior online model.
I actually don't...
You have 4 trial mechs a week.
Okay.
And the only way you can get... And you could only own 4 other mechs out of a pool of like 35 mechs without spending real money to buy more garage slots to own more. Not to mention that the trial mech they give... I'll give you the example. When I started playing, the trial mech was a spider. Had 4 machine guns and an extended range large laser, and it was pretty
sounds
amazing.
Cool.
Then when I bought a spider, it fucking sucked. I mean, it utterly sucked. It took me like 45 games of playing just to clone the trial spider, and that was me buying the wrong things and screwing it up. And then once I figured it out, I'm like, okay, now it's equal. That cost like 50 million credits, and it really shouldn't have. So... It could be worse.
I tried to play Mech Warrior once and I got too bored trying to get enough credits to buy the first mech, so I gave up. That was even worse than LoL, I think.
I never touched it. So, back to where we were, you get more currency if you queue up with friends or a pre-made party. Do you think it's a good idea? Because personally,
I think it's going to help because like if you do solo queue in League of Legends right now, you pretty much have a miserable time for the most part with other people because you just get in that thing where everyone's yelling at you and all that. And then if you duo queue, you have I feel like I have a lot more fun when I'm playing with at least one other person that I know, and also I can rely on. And I think this is saying that you should play with more people. Not only are you going to get more in-game currency out of it, but you're also going to have more fun, and it'll actually maybe have the everyone more happy that's playing the game because they're actually playing with friends, and they kind of want to play with friends. And I mean, you should be playing with friends anyways. I guess in Blizzard type games, that's what they strive for, is to try to connect everybody.
Now, here's a thought that I hadn't had before. So, where does most of the toxicity come from in most Dota games? It's usually the early game, right? Either you're losing lane, you want your jungler to come, or the jungler's not coming, or, you guys got ganked, or something like that. Without all that, that's going to remove that early game, but it's since Heroes is more objective focused, it's probably going to take even more communication to get a solid push going or a solid group. Do you think that's going to happen? Because I could see maybe more of an issue coming up if objectives are that big a concern.
I could see both ways. I could see it happening both ways. I could see more issues coming out with toxicity, because, I mean, right now, currently, it's the early game. It's going to come out when, say, you feed the enemy AD carry 3 kills when you really, didn't have to. And then the rest of your team's going to be screaming at you, you friggin' noob. So it's going to come out in the Dragonshire. You could have prevented them from capping the bottom turret, bottom shrine. You couldn't have capped it for yourself, but you could have stopped them from capping it and then gaining access to the dragon. But you didn't.
Right.
So it's going to come out there because then all of a sudden there's a gigantic rampaging dragon knight walking through the field, killing your team,
punting you across the map,
breathing fire, doing all kinds of horrible things, and that's your fault.
Now, one thing that I've learned from past experience, namely WoW, is that when something is objective focused, some people tend to ignore the objective and just go for the guy that's running away at 2 health instead of the guy that's capturing the objective. Do you see that as being an issue? Fighting on the roads during Warsong Gulch while the flag carrier's just walking right next to them. Yeah, It happens
in League of Legends too. You'll be fighting under a turret that's got 2 hits on it. Instead of doing 2 hits to the turret, they literally just chase past the turret trying to kill the guy running away that's at like half health, where you could have just took 4 less turret hits by just doing 2 more damage to the turret.
You could have taken 4 less turret hits and probably gotten the kill anyway.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So, yeah, that's going to happen in every game, though.
True.
Every game where kills give you some kind of bonus. If the kills gave you no bonus, that wouldn't happen.
Well, is there really a bonus in this game? Other
Experience,
than right,
not a lot.
Global experience, yeah.
Global experience for your team, and you don't have that guy up your ass for the next 30 seconds.
True. Okay.
So, really, it's just removing them from the game for a short period of time is the real incentive.
All right, so moving on. From a press interview, Dustin Browder commented that they're planning on putting a map editor in the game. So, do you think this will be kind of like StarCraft, where the devs will eventually use the popular maps and put them in the regular rotation? Or will this idea end up going south?
It has potential, but at the same time, I see it going south. Because, I mean, what is StarCraft? StarCraft is, you build a base, you build units, you need like resources and expansion slots and everything, and a balanced map that takes some time to explore and get to the enemy. This is entirely different. You need set lanes and set objectives, and you're going to need jungle camps scattered about.
Yeah.
And, well-placed bases, bases at the end of lanes and all that stuff. So, how many good maps are you going to actually have?
Well,
I mean, really.
Go ahead.
You go first.
Fine. All right. So the one thing that they did say was that they could they were planning on making if you remember the StarCraft 2 campaign, there's one level where the lava periodically rises and falls. They could have that where you have to be on the upper ground when the lava rises, or else you'll start taking periodic damage. That could definitely lead into some interesting mechanics. But with any map editor in any game, you're going to get the idiots who draw dicks and other stuff.
Penis map.
Yeah, it's always going to happen. And there's nothing you can do to change that. I'm just hoping there's enough of a community that that's just not going to happen.
I mean, look at all the games that come out where the creativity of the players is all about the game. Like Cube World, I guess not Cube World. What's the new one that's coming out by Tryon?
Voxel?
Yeah. Trove, Minecraft, all those. And then think about it, Dota came from a map editor. So I feel like you can have amazing games by people, like amazing maps. I know I want to make Griffball, and when I have the ability, just a giant Griffball map. I have no idea how to do it yet, but that's my first map I want to make, Griffball.
So do you think this could lead to too many maps in a way that they have to start banning maps like StarCraft?
Eventually, if they start, if Blizzard starts putting the really, really good ones into tournament rotations or just into the rotation in general, then yeah, eventually it could lead to too many maps if there are too many good ones that they use. But I don't know. I could see, down the road. Right now, they have 4 maps in game.
Right.
So say the game releases and they have arbitrary number 9 maps released. Come tournament, it would be nice to see a ban feature for a map.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I do not want to play on the Haunted Mine because the 2 levels is a pain in the ass. So let's ban it.
Sounds good.
Or I remember talking earlier about how if you did do this and there was a banning type thing, maybe your team likes to do a certain type of tactic, and the Haunting Mines is literally against that. So you would be like, I don't want to play on Haunting Mines because their team is actually really good on it. What they normally play, maybe they play 4 Bruiser-esque champions or something like that, and then that's good for them. And so you'd ban that one, and then you pick this one, but then they want to ban that one because maybe your style of play is good for that type of map. So I think it lead into some interesting gameplay.
All right. And so last thing about this topic, we were talking about how it's based off the StarCraft 2 engine. This means that there's a spectator mode already in-game and ready to go.
And it was shown off. We saw a glimpse of it at BlizzCon.
Right.
For their player matches. And it's a very well done spectator mode.
I mean, it's functioning, unlike Hearthstone, Arena,
Yeah.
It was functioning, and it functioned quite well because
Right.
I could look up the screen and I can glance all the information I needed: kills, objectives destroyed, dead champions, things like that.
Right. The only thing I would like to see is this was mentioned as well is even from a player's perspective, like in Dota League, you can hold tab and it'll show you what items they have, so you know if they're stacking armor, if they're stacking magic resistance, or if they're going AP or AD. In this, there's no items, so meaning you're going to have to look at their talents if you want to see what they're going for. So the stitches, maybe he talented into the extra 50% hook. You're going to want to know that as a player, and you're going to want to know that as a caster. But currently, there doesn't seem to be a way to see that. And I think that'd be a great addition. That way the casters know this hook is going that much further, because holy crap, when it's upgraded, does it fly far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be something I think is needed and essential for release because, like you just said, you're going to want to know that hook can go 50% further before you actually see it coming at your face. Because, here's Stitches. Okay, I'm out of his range. Holy shit, I'm out of his range.
Yeah. Just think if you couldn't tell, like in League, if Blitzcrank could pull you from 50% further. You didn't know. So...
And another thing you might want to know is what talents they actually took going into that game. So what you actually might be playing against, because they can change them, apparently, like maybe is what they're talking about. You can go in with 3 different level 1 talents and 3 different level 4 talents. So maybe that has a lot to do with what you need to know and what you need to cast.
That segues, so moving on, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the talents. Some things came up near the end of BlizzCon that we didn't really mention last episode. So on the build of heroes played at BlizzCon, both Arthas and Malfurion had a spec that you could pick. Either Blood or Frost, and Boomkin or Resto for Malfurion. Now, Phil, can you tell us a little bit about this specialization system?
Considering I didn't play any of those champions, not as much as I'd like, but the basic idea I get is that the specialization we'll go with Arthas because he's the one I saw more than Malfurion. Malfurion I saw didn't know what they were doing. They were running around like a headless chicken. Like I would imagine.
He is a druid, by the way, so...
Yeah.
And a moon kid's like a chicken, so close enough.
I completely did not mean that. I'm sorry.
I'm just cackling inside because of that.
I know you are. I could see, like, we'll say Blood being more of a fighter-based tree because they've already said, fighter, that's kind of the equivalent of a tank.
It's warrior.
Unless they change... Yeah, it's like a warrior. So unless they change their mind and make an actual tank, classification...
It's warrior. No, the tank specialization is warrior.
Oh, I thought it was...
No, they changed it
It's
again.
warrior. Why am I... Brain... So yeah, warrior. So the Blood being a more warrior tanky type thing, and then the Frost being a more damage, maybe even a caster. Who knows? Can you imagine Arthas as a caster? That'd be entertaining.
No. Just no.
Yeah, no, I know. But I'm saying, can you imagine?
No, I literally can't.
I can't.
So yeah, I mean, the specializations would probably lock you into a certain set of talent choices, sort of like they do in WoW.
Right.
So you pick Blood, and you're gonna... I mean, you pick Frost, and you won't be able to get, let's say, you gain 450 health and the ability to sacrifice a ghoul.
Yeah,
talent.
or a minion, or something like that.
Or minion, or something like that, yeah. But in Frost, you're gonna get the lovely... Every time you hit somebody... it slows them. Or every time you hit somebody, it does a small splash. Or you gain 200 attack range by throwing Frostborn at the back of their head.
But then you have to pick it up. I just have to.
Oh, that would be annoying.
But
Force powers, right? Just comes back to you.
yeah, I
Right,
mean,
exactly.
this spec thing, the thing is, in any of the panels, in any of the discussions, it was never talked about unless you physically ask the devs about it at the stations. And that's the weird thing.
Maybe they're not really sure yet. They're still toying with it.
Yeah, the devs also, the ones I talked to, didn't seem like they knew what was actually in the build they were playing at Blizz. They were demoing. Because one guy asked, oh, what spec did you choose? And the spec option wasn't in for you to choose. Like, you couldn't actually pick it. But he asked you, oh, so what spec did you choose? It's like, what are you talking about? Oh, for Arthur, did you pick Blood or Frost? I didn't get the option to pick Blood or Frost, and the dev was confused, like, what?
So, okay. Does this mean that they forgot to remove it from this BlizzCon build completely? Or are they trying to take it out of the game?
I don't know. It could be that they just didn't want it active and they forgot to remove the UI element.
Maybe.
Because, I mean, who knows what they did to this build from the current internal company build that they're testing.
Well, because it was the 20-minute
Change it.
timer as well.
Yeah, so they probably made a lot of changes, and this was just something that slipped through the cracks.
But then why would they not talk about it at all?
I have no idea.
It's just maybe it's just not polished enough for them to feel comfortable about talking.
True. Very true.
Because they like to polish stuff up a lot before they release anything. Usually.
Yeah, Blizzard is famous for it's done when it's done.
All I care is as long as the or the Druid-esque champion has more specs than anyone else, like they should, then I'm fine.
I'm waiting for the one where you can swap from like an assassin to a support or something just by pressing like using your ultimate or something, so you can be a multi-class. I think those types are really cool. Okay.
Maybe that'd be all right. Yeah.
So lastly, also from the press interview, we learned that when we first start the game, the plan is to only have one talent per tier in the tree. This means you get no choice but to pick the singular talent when you level up initially. But as you level up in the game by playing matches, you unlock additional talents per tier. And when you get more than 3 talents per tier total, you are only allowed to pick 3 of these into the game. And then you choose one of those 3 in the game best suited for your current position. If you ever played Awesomenauts, it's very similar. Choose a maximum of 3 to bring into the game, and then in the game choose 1. Do you think this level of customization is good? Or is it too complicated?
It's both. It's nice and complicated, but, having that level of, that variety, I mean, it adds value to each champion, I guess. It adds replayability and, just whimsical builds, things you wouldn't expect. I mean, hey, guess what? You're playing Arthas. I'm going to keep using him as an example. And suddenly you have a bunch of talents that make him a support. And nobody's going to expect that. But, like, out of nowhere. I mean, unless it outright, tells you exactly what the other team's options are for talents, which I doubt they're going to do that. I hope they do, though, because it's kind of necessary as a player and a showcaster. I hope it shows you what they took when they picked their one talent, but whether they actually show you all of their possible choices, that I could care less. I really don't matter. I mean, maybe for spectators, they could see all the possible choices for shoutcasters and stuff like that. Like, at level 10, they're going to have the option between, this, and this. Wonder what they're going to take. If they could take this if this person gets fed, or they could take that if the other team's doing this. And I'm done with my shoutcaster impersonation.
Okay.
I think it won't be that complicated because they're taking out all of items. So instead of having not thousands, but hundreds of different items you could buy, you have like a handful of talents, essentially. And so it's just like saying you're playing Tristana and LoL. You can level up one thing if you're going AP, or you're going to level up a different thing if you're going AD, and you need to know that. And then you also have like 10 items you could be choosing to buy from. So in this, you're just like, 3 talents. Okay.
I mean, is there going to be a problem though? I mean, it's really dependent on how they do this. But if you're fighting someone level 1 as a level 10, you may have more talent choices than them, have an advantage. Is that a big deal, do you think? Or not so much?
Why are you facing a level 1 as a level 10?
Yeah, this could be a yes and no. If their matchmaking, let's say, their MMR system or whatever their equivalent is decent, that's not going to be an issue because, like Aythir just said, you're not going to be facing a level 1 as a level 10. You'll be facing, let's say, a 9 to 11, so they'll be pretty much close enough. But if their MMR system sucks, then yeah, this is going to be an issue because you'll go into the game at level 2 and here's a level 15. You're playing the same champion, but they kick your ass because they just have a whole plate full of options to choose from.
Okay, better example. What if you're level, you're 25, and the enemy on the other team's 28, 30, but the super powerful talent is at 28. Maybe there won't be a super powerful talent, but maybe that's the problem. like, how can they diversify the talents that much so there's not that you have to pick this one, but you need to level up, and once you do get this one, it's amazing. Do you see the problem there?
Maybe the super awesome talent could be countered by one of the other talents.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah, but generally the talents are either just flat stats or a change to, like, one of your abilities.
Mechanic, yeah.
Right. I mean, what if, for example, let's take Rainer's Battlecruiser. There's a talent that makes it deal 150% damage. That's pretty big. You just toss it on a fort, I'm pretty sure it'll kill the entire thing with that amount of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that'll be a big deal. Maybe you combine...
trade-off.
Right. If they balance it correctly, I don't think it'll be an issue, though. But
they could do it where, let's say the max is 30 or whatever, and you can only play other 30s, and that's where the super awesome talent is, kind of like in their battlegrounds. So if you're 10 to 19, you'll be facing each other, but the second you hit max level, you can only face other max levels.
Then where's the choice? And what's the whole point of the talent system?
Well, that's just to put everybody on level ground.
Right.
Because, they don't let you play against level 90s in, like, WoW PvP unless you're level 90. So all the classes are going to have the same options. Every mage is going to have, whatever you get.
Polymorph and...
Yeah, you're going to all have Polymorph. You're going to all have Time Warp. You're going to all have everything you would have. You're going to all have Alter Time. That's the thing you get. So, yeah, I mean... It just balances it out. I mean, there's a point to the talent system because, champion diversity and all that stuff, and it's making up for the lack of an item system.
And as you level up, you're going to be unlocking small amounts. So just like leveling in WoW, like when you start a level 1 character, you only have 2 options of like attacking something because they don't want to like, here's 30 different spells, figure it out. Like you slowly learn a couple spells, and then you learn a combo, and then you learn these 2 spells like synergize well. And then I see that's how it's gonna eventually like play off. Like so for the advanced MOBA player, maybe if you stuck them with a level like 30 character, they could adapt a lot better than like a person that's very new to MOBA. And they also want this to be not an easier MOBA, but a much more inclined to the people that are interested in playing a MOBA for the first time.
Okay. Now,
and let's not forget, they're marketing this as a hero brawler, not a MOBA.
True. So the last thing that I see is, what if, the 30's going to play with themselves, but what if, say, I'm 30, and, Aythir, you just started and you're level 1. Can I not play with you? Is that not a thing? Because I'm in the 30 bracket, you're in the 1 bracket, you can't exactly... It doesn't mesh.
You'd be able to play with them because Blizzard's whole thing is they want you to play with your friends. Yeah. So, yes, you'll be able to play with them, but I don't know how they.
He'll just play with a disadvantage,
or maybe you'll play with a disadvantage. Maybe you can only play what my max level is, the lower player's max level.
True, and then it'll scale your talents down. That's interesting. I
and
can
all
see
your
that.
gear, just like in WoW.
What gear?
That would.
Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm tired. So, any final thoughts then?
About the beta coming out?
Yeah, I'd really like to play.
Okay. Okay, let's take a bet on the stream. Last thing, when it was Price is Right rules, so no going over. When is the beta coming out to the day?
To the day.
Yes.
Wow.
$1.
$1. All right. Aythir, you're going first. You're the new guy.
The beta, you said?
The beta. When is the first day of the beta?
I want to go with...
Closest without going over.
You're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah.
I haven't had time to figure out my options. I will go, optimistically speaking, December.
Wow!
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'll go February 8th.
February 8th.
Yep.
Phil.
I'm sitting here and I'm saying in my head, all right, I got a date. Instantly, as Aythir's sitting there thinking, February 17th was my date. And as soon as I heard him say February, I'm like, I need to change that. So
He's gonna say February 9th, just to be a dick.
No, I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna just stick with my first. No,
No, you're indecisive.
I
5,
am.
4,
March 1st.
No, you can't
March
push it.
1st.
March 1st.
I'm gonna go way off, you guys, and say
Tomorrow.
January, February, March, April. April 1st.
You
See,
think it's gonna be
April
Fools?
Fools.
Guys, beta's out. Just kidding. No, but seriously, it's out.
Hey guys.
You're right, it's
no,
April 1st. I'll do it the day before then, just so it's not April 1st. So March 31st, if it January, February, March has 31 days. We're good. We're fine. We're fine. All right, so we'll catch up and see if these are right in, well, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 months.
When am I gonna win when I'm right?
Nothing. Your pride in knowing that you got it right.
At least I have pride.
So, Mr. Mike in the middle, drinking a can of something, aka Thilladren. Follow him at Thilladren, Thilladren, changing colors the entire episode.
I don't know why.
I wasn't gonna mention it. And Eric on the far side over there, aka Aythir. Follow him at Aythir101. That's AYTHIR101. He is brand new to Twitter, and you should totally help him learn things. He's bad at it.
I'm normal.
Nope, no, you're
Liver's
still
failing.
orange /
Nope.
I'm
yellow.
normal.
Yellow,
My liver's
yellow.
failing.
He's got-
You're having fun with that.
I'm having way too much fun with that because you just pointed it out to me.
Did you not know?
No,
I
I
just
didn't know.
noticed
that.
Okay.
He said
Well,
something.
and finally, me, Jeremy, and you can follow me at Squishei. That's SQUISHEI. See you next week for more discussion on Heroes of the Storm.